Hello everyone, this is the Underage Trucker. Today, I wanted to give you guys kind of my verdict on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown now that I have played the game for roughly about 24 hours. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make this video is because I have made one just purely talking about the positive sides of this game, and yes, there are positives to this game, but that's not the full story, right? And now that I've played the game for a relatively decent amount of time, I think now would probably be a good time to talk about kind of my overall consensus of basically what I think. Now, the first thing I will say is kind of the Test Drive franchise in general, specifically TDU1 and TDU2, have been kind of like definitely like big core memories for me. And, they were definitely part of my childhood and growing up. So there are some major differences between TDUSC and those games, which, in my opinion, detract from this being a true TDU game. Now, the original series, what they did is they made a lifestyle game, and then they added racing to it. And somehow, the recipe just worked. It hadn't really been done before, but it did work. Like, in TDUSC, the idea of the game is you race, right? You find a race and then you do it to get money and XP, and then you do it again to get more money and XP, and then you do it again, and you basically end up, replaying a lot of the same races over and over again. And that is basically what the grind of this game is. It is just racing, and as a result, as a racing game, this game is good. The racing's good, the physics are good, the car models are great, and they sound great as well. I've mentioned all of this stuff multiple times. In the other TDUs, there's other types of progression. Your character is almost like an extension of yourself, and that is not present in this game. What I mean by that is, the only way to progress in this game, as I say, is to do races, right? But in other test drive games, what you could do, if you didn't want to go racing, you can open up the map, find some Fotiana who needs a lift somewhere, and you can do a transport mission where you deliver someone to the doctors, or, you take someone's car in for a service, and you get nicely rewarded for doing that. That sort of stuff, it might be coming into the game, but today, as of the official release date of this game, that is not in there. So you can't get XP or money and get to drive other cars through doing something like a transport mission. If you want to be technical, like that sort of stuff that you get in this game is going and finding a little collectible and going picking it up, or absolutely sending it for a speed trap. And I don't know about you, but Forza Horizon and all these other kind of mainstream games, they've already done all of this. That's why it made for fuck's sake. That's why TDU was unique, because there were other ways of making money and earning XP and basically progressing through the game that didn't involve you, either having to race or, drive for a speed camera at some crazy high speeds. My other kind of like gripe with the game so far is, in some ways, the developers have listened to the community, but in a lot of other ways, they obviously haven't. I don't even want to spend too much time talking about the fact that this game is always online, because that's all everyone's talking about, and it is very annoying, and it does basically give this game a shelf life. But why don't you just make it offline, man? Like, just let us play the game that we paid money for, even if you guys decide that you can't be bothered to work on it anymore. Just let us play the game. It also means that we wouldn't have kind of any DC issues or anything like that. I know they have said that they've sorted out most of the issues, but literally today, on release day, and by the way, I think it's about half an hour as of recording this before the game actually releases to everyone that's bought it on normal release, I got kicked out of a race! It's been out for a week, bruv! If you have a look at the roadmap that TDUSC released, the good news is, next June they're going to bring out the casino. Now, basically their first advert, or like showcase or demo, trailer, that's the word I'm looking for. The first trailer that they properly released about this game literally had someone betting their car at a casino. So come on, like that was about 3 years ago. Why wouldn't you have the casino on launch? Even as a DLC, just give it to me. I'm fiending for it. And, you know, the rest of the roadmap also is still, like, a little bit questionable. Like, I'm glad that they're bringing Ibiza, or a part of Ibiza, but, you know, let's be honest, who gives a flying fuck about clan wars? What even is a clan war? Like, how do you beef random other people that you've never met online? You know, this isn't like Valorant or Counter-Strike where you just flame people because it's funny. It's a driving game. And, you know, looking at that roadmap, what I would have really rather seen in that is, you know, first 3 months, you know, add a 900-degree steering wheel so that I can play this game with my steering wheel and not make me feel sick. You know, what is this? Look at that. I'm sorry, but that's shit. You know, if I saw that roadmap and I saw in the first 3 months they're going to add this 900-degree steering wheel and they're going to bring Ibiza, in 6 months they're going to add the casino and they're going to add driving delivery missions and, you know, all of that. And then in Q3 they add houses and real estates. Oh, I would have been there like, you know, even if it's not from launch, like at least, you know, that's what everyone's been asking for. You know, we don't need a clan war. What is that about? Oh, there's a collectible there. But you see, I would have rather, you know, done like some sort of delivery mission and got to drive a car that I wouldn't have been able to drive otherwise to get that 15,000, rather than just driving over a little kind of holographic sea. And with how the game has been released, I think it's going to be really difficult to basically implement the lifestyle features that TDU2 had into this game, because this game has clearly been built around being a racing game. And TDU, as I say, it was a driving game and a lifestyle game, and it had racing in it. But this is a racing game, and how do you implement the lifestyle things into a racing game? You know, I think that's going to be a much more difficult recipe, and, you know, in all honesty, it will surprise me if they manage to pull it off in good time. Cars do look good though, don't they? Somehow I'm crashed. Still saved it. I think really what I'm trying to say is, like, if this game came out and it was called, let's say, Solar Crown, and that name had no resemblance to Test Drive Unlimited, this would be a sick game. You know, objectively, this is a good game. I like the dealerships. You know, the Solar Crown Hotel is, well, okay. You know, it's better than nothing. You know, the graphics are good, and as I said before, the physics and, you know, the graphics and all of this is good. This is good, you know, core details, but the DNA is not TDU, man. And, you know, that's ultimately how I feel about the game. It's not quite, no, it's not even not quite. It's not a TDU game. And that's why a lot of people are disappointed about it, because it's called a TDU game and, you know, the DNA's not there. Let's be honest, like, the actual racing in Test Drive, it wasn't actually that good. I did like how the championships were laid out. It made the game, like, quite easy to understand your progression, but the actual racing was nothing special by any means, you know? And I would actually say the racing in this game is probably better, but it should be, because this is a racing game, and obviously TDU2 was a driving lifestyle game. You know, you had way more exploration in the other Test Drive Unlimited games. At the end of the day, the maps were way bigger than this one, and although this one's very detailed, there's not as much to explore. I haven't played that much, and I've already discovered like 30% of the map, and I'm not going around trying to discover roads I haven't discovered. I think I mentioned this before, but everything in this game was clearly revolving around the money. Like, in TDU2, there were loads of wrecks to discover all over the map, and, you know, you could get all of these, and in this game there is two. You know, two wrecks, and to be honest, neither of them are even that nice in my opinion. I'm going to go on to kind of the biggest gripe really about the game that I feel so far, and then obviously I'll basically round that off with what I genuinely do think about the game, all things considered. And, you know, Solar Crown is just kind of empty. Like, look at this, I'm in the main lobby, and, you know, there's no one here. There's a few people's cars. Look how big and open this wide, expansive area is, and there's nothing really for me to do here. There's just people standing around, and they don't really, you know, these NPCs, they don't even know what planet they're living on. Like, I can walk to the lounge, and that's it. You know, I can't do anything here. In TDU, the lounge in the casino, or the bar, sorry, you can go and get wasted, and you might win a prize for buying a specific drink. There's not that much depth. It's just such big, wide, open areas with nothing really to do. This also applies for, like, the dealerships as well, and they've got, like, 4 of the same car, and just some massive open area. Like, it's just a bit unnecessary. If you wanted to go and change how you looked in TDU, you'd have to go and find a beauty salon and get plastic surgery done. Then for a while you've got a bandage on your face while you wait for the new look to come. Here, you just go into the beauty salon and it takes you into a loading screen. And I might as well be playing The Sims. And, you know, it is basically the same situation with the clothing store. There were actual brands like Ben Sherman and, you know, shit like that in the other games. And you drive around and find different clothing shops which had different clothing styles. And here, you just go to a clothing store and enter it. And to be honest, there's an extremely limited number of things that you can customize your character with. You know, there's really not that much. And, you know, why are we going backwards? The graphics are better and the physics are better, the car models are better. But other than that, the DNA, TDU2 did it better, bro. And do you know how much it hurts me to say that? I've been waiting for this game for so long, and I want to love it. And I don't dislike the game. Okay, I'll just say, I don't dislike the game. It's just not a TDU game. I think really, kind of, with all of that in mind, to kind of give you my verdict on the game. If you haven't played this game before, this is a solid game. Okay, this game in itself is a good racing game. As I say, look how sick the models are. Look how nice these cars look. You know, the physics are good, and it is an enjoyable racing game. You know, the rain, the nighttime, all the lighting effects, they're seriously good. The sounds of the cars, they're all really good. Okay, so this is a good racing game. However, calling it a Test Drive Unlimited game is quite upsetting. And it makes you think that the game is going to be better than it was. If you've never played Test Drive Unlimited 2, then hop on this game and you won't be disappointed. It will be a solid game. But the DNA of Test Drive, which everyone has been looking for, at the moment is not there. As a result, as a racing game, I'd probably give this game like a 7, possibly even an 8 out of 10 if I'm feeling generous. But as a TDU game, I'd give it a 4. You know, below average. So that's kind of what I think. It is a good game, but it's not a TDU game, and for that reason, it is kind of upsetting, but not to the point where I'm going to completely stop playing the game. I'll still play it, but I'm going to try and remain detached from the fact that it's a TDU game and it's just a fun game to play. To be honest, what I'll probably end up doing is hopping back on TDU2 at some point. In my opinion, now that the game's out, you know, and you're not paying extra for the gold edition, is it worth the 40 quid that it's up for? I wouldn't pay 40 quid, you know, in my opinion. What I would do is I would go on CD Keys and buy it for like £21. At that sort of price, this game is a cop. You know, you can't go wrong. My philosophy is, if you get £1 per hour out of a game, it's a decent purchase. So, if I get, I mean, I bought the gold edition on CD Keys and it was about £41. So if I get at least like 40 hours worth of gameplay out of this game, solid cop. And you know what? I think I will get 40 hours out of it. In fact, I probably reckon I'll get a couple of hundred quite comfortably with how the game is now. But beyond that, I don't think I'd be able to play it too much more than that unless they start upping their game with the content and getting more stuff out. When the casino comes out, I'll be a degenerate gambler. But yeah, that's probably everything I'll go through today. Hopefully you guys kind of agree or even disagree. You know, if you disagree with me, then please, by all means, let me know. And yeah, it'd be just kind of interesting to see, you know, whether or not you guys are going to keep playing it, hold off, refund it, and, you know, generally just what your thoughts are. Other than that, peace out.